Hello everybody, welcome to the Generic Cappy YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. I am Amar, otherwise known as Generic Cappy, and today, for this channel, it is Nintendo 2024 prediction slash discussion day. I should have probably recorded this video a little bit earlier, but my goal now is to get it out before the February Nintendo Direct, or the pretty likely February Nintendo Direct. So I've pretty much, I probably could have done this a little earlier and tried to get it out earlier in January, but here we are. So this prediction video will pretty much deal with what Nintendo's probably February 2024 to maybe February of 2025 looks like, or just around there. And yeah, I'll just be discussing, some of the key points that, of things that could happen this year, some of the things I would like to happen this year, and then some of the things I think are realistically possible for this year, which is very exciting. If this is your first time on this channel, please feel free to check out any of the other videos I have uploaded, both this year and in previous years. And if you do like that content, feel free to subscribe or just leave some feedback on anything that you would like to see on this channel. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So I think the big topic of discussion that a lot of people will be talking about within their prediction videos, and just going into this entire year, we will probably see a good amount of discussion and reports and videos and all that surrounding it, and that is Nintendo's next generation console, which is currently being dubbed the Nintendo Switch 2. And I wanted to start off with this topic really just to get my thoughts out there on it, because I do believe that depending on what your opinion for if the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out this year or not, that does help to, I guess, position or direct the predictions that you have for the year, or like what you think will happen this year. And for me, I do believe that the console will come out this year. I did think about this for a little while, what the plan really is for it, or what I truly do believe, and I do truly believe, I think it's coming out this year. But I still wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo, waited until the earlier part of 2025 to release it. I do think at the very least we will hear about it and see it this year. And for me, I do believe that it will be released within the time period of September and November. And yeah, I'm leaning more towards the September-October area, but obviously November is a very traditional console release month, so I would not be surprised if that is what Nintendo decides to do. But with my prediction of it being both announced and released this year, I do think it'll probably fit in within that September, October, November time frame. I could see it being earlier, but as I mentioned, I do have, a little more insight than some other prediction videos that were made previously, late last year or early this year. And being that, we haven't got it announced yet, it is the end of January, beginning of February at the time this video is being released, and I don't believe by the time this video's released we would have seen the console. So we are we're getting close to the time frame where a lot of people are predicting maybe we would see it in January, get a presentation in March, and it'll be released in the summer, with us possibly getting a Nintendo Direct this month, or likely a Nintendo Direct this month. I don't know if Nintendo would reveal it this month. So I do believe that the earliest we will see it is March of the earliest we will see it, or they will talk about it, will be March of this year. And yeah, I could see it maybe being mentioned or talked about in February. We do have an investors meeting, or just like an investors relations earnings call, or earnings discussion coming up very soon. I believe that is February 6th, so that isn't that far away. And I could see them maybe mentioning it there. That's where we technically got the first full-on mention, and Nintendo tweeted out that the Nintendo NX at the time would be released in March of 2017. But that also was in the more larger general investors meeting for the year that they mentioned that. So I don't know if they've ever done that where they've mentioned it in a smaller one like this, but it's possible. Someone asks a question about it, and Nintendo gives a response that indicates that they are working on the next generation console, or the next generation console is fairly soon-ish releasing. We will hear about it soonish. But if I had to put out a timeline out there for what I think this year will look like for the Nintendo Switch 2, I do believe we will probably see it, or we will hear it at least mentioned by March, or by the end of March 2024. And I think that we will see it. I don't think it will just be a mention. I do think we will see it in March of 2024. And then I do believe we'll probably get a presentation in June or July. And then about 2 to 3 months after that presentation, 2 or 3 months after that presentation, that's when the console will official release. So I do believe, a early-ish, or a very late winter in the Northern Hemisphere, a late winter showcase, or a late winter reveal of the console, early spring reveal, a summer reveal, a full-on reveal presentation similar to the January 2027 Nintendo Switch presentation, and then a late summer, autumn, fallish type of release for the console, which I mean, that's something that they've done before. We have seen, well, I'm not sure if they've done it before. Obviously we had the Wii U and the Wii and everything, and the DS, and those did, get their reveals in the summer, but we had also obviously heard about them way before then, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe, obviously, those consoles did get, their big showcases in the summer before they released, and those all did release in October-November timeframe. So that's kind of what I'm basing this off of. But I do believe that's what we will see in March, and then a presentation in June, July, and then it will release at some point in September, October, or November. I'm not sure if there's anything else I really had to discuss about that. Specifically about, those details. Obviously, there's a lot that we can discuss about the Nintendo Switch 2. What gimmick it may or may not have. Will it have a gimmick that is different than what we've already seen on the Nintendo Switch? That is a big topic of discussion. This video is pretty much just a general predictions video, so I'm not gonna go too much into what each of these things could be that I'm going to talk about, just because I feel like, obviously with a Nintendo Direct soon, that is somewhere where I can be a little more specific in my predictions. Obviously with a Nintendo console presentation, that's something where you can be a little more specific. Maybe even a review of a console, that's something you can be a little more specific in, but obviously it's pretty hard to guess the gimmick of a console when we haven't really even heard about it that much from official sources. I think, and this will pretty much date where this video is being recorded, but we just recently heard about the LCD, 8-inch LCD screen that is rumored to be on the next Nintendo console. So I don't think, obviously that's probably not associated with the gimmick at all. That's just the size of the screen. But, it does give us some type of indication that and that did come from Bloomberg, so that is a pretty official source. That isn't, I think that's kind of close towards, official but not officially official. So, I think over the next couple of weeks, leading into when the console could be revealed, that's when we'll probably see a more rumors come out, maybe 1 or 2 rumors every couple weeks. The other big thing I just wanted to mention, and this could affect the timeline a little bit, is there is a chance it is not revealed in March and it's revealed maybe in April or May. Not in a presentation or anything, just the official reveal of it, just because the Nintendo's physical year does not end until March 31st, 2024. So it's possible they want to just, keep this physical year just all for the Switch, and then again, maybe at the larger investors meeting in, I believe it's May this year, they will talk about the next console and, give it a full reveal and all that. And then maybe even date for a presentation later on in the couple, maybe a week later, we get a date for whenever a presentation would be for it. And I know by saying that, maybe it gets an April or May reveal, maybe that does indicate that it could be a March 2025 console. And again, I'm not going to say too much on that because I do think it's still very possible the console doesn't release this year and it does release early next year. But just for discussion purposes, I had to make a decision, and I do think it's going to release this year. So, but even with that April and May, I do think that they could reveal it in April, have the presentation still in June or July, and then release October or November or something like that. It's just whatever Nintendo, I guess, feels most comfortable with marketing for a next console. Obviously, if it isn't a big dramatic change from the Switch, I also don't think that they will need as much time to be out there and doing press for it. Obviously, they would need to do press for it because you'd want more people to know about the console and to have official means of hearing about it and just fully understanding what Nintendo is trying to do with it. But it won't be as different compared from the Wii U to the Switch, that Nintendo has to do a large press tour about it just to tell everybody about it. Since it will be so similar, I'm assuming, if it is similar, I'm assuming that they can market it as this is the next Switch, or this is an upgraded Switch, or if you want to play games going forward, this is the console you need to have, or something like that. Opposed to going from a home console that has a gamepad and all that that the Wii U had, a gamepad, and it was just a home console, and then you also had your handheld console with the 3DS, and then you're combining them both into one console now. I think that it is easier now for Nintendo just to go out there and talk about whatever the Switch successor may be, if it is similar. But yeah, so for release predictions for the Nintendo Switch successor or next generation Nintendo console, I think a May type trailer just mention will happen, or not a March mention trailer will happen. A presentation in the June-July area, and then a release in September, October, and November, or pretty much in the latter, 3/4 to the end of the year type of area for the console. But I guess now, since we've talked about the console, I guess we can really just talk about games. Obviously, Nintendo does have a couple other things happening very soon that isn't related to games, so we will also talk about that here. Just probably not as much as we'll talk about it in the future when Nintendo has more official information out there about it. But let us get into the games now. And I guess maybe I could talk about it a little bit if the Nintendo Switch doesn't release this year, or Nintendo Nintendo's next console doesn't release this year, maybe what I think could happen, but let us get right into that. So going under the pretext that there is a new Nintendo console this year, that does change up the plans just a little bit in terms of what exactly Nintendo could show off this year, when they would be showing off those things, mainly in the terms of video games. We've already obviously talked about the console, but that could affect what Nintendo Switch Directs we see, or Nintendo Directs that we see throughout the year, or the type of presentations that we see. If we get maybe a couple of minis instead of Directs, so I think we should just talk about that, and then really just get our thoughts out there on that. So, I've said it a couple times already in this video, but I do think that we will have a Nintendo Direct this month, or pretty much, this will probably be coming out early February. So, I do think we will be seeing a Nintendo Direct this month. Maybe around February 7th, February 6th to 8th, or 13th to 15th, around that area. I don't think it'll be a mini. I know I've been thinking about that for a little while. What if they just do a mini? Because I guess I can just talk about this. So, they could do a mini because we already know a lot of what Nintendo's first 25% to 33% of the year looks like. They have dates for a lot of things already. That's why I guess I should say. Another Kirby collection just released, so that was Nintendo's first party release of the year. But we do have Mario vs. Donkey Kong coming out on February 16th. And then we have the Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC coming out on February 22nd. And then we have Princess Peach Showtime, which is coming out on March 22nd. And then we have announcements of games like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which I believe was just slotted for summer of 2024. And Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, which is slotted for just 2024. And then obviously, the big, umbrella of a game that who knows when it's going to come out, if it's going to come out this year, in Metroid Prime 4. But they could easily just do a mini and talk about the Mario vs. Donkey Kong and Side Order and Princess Peach Showtime, and then give dates to Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario. But I do think that Nintendo is going to at least want to talk about at least something new, especially with rumors out there. And obviously I'm not saying they're going to base their entire plans on rumors, but just based off Nintendo probably does want to still show confidence in Nintendo Switch, and so they're probably going to at least want to have a timeline of not just games that we already know about right now, but they will probably want to reveal maybe 1 or 2 extra games that will at least be coming out between now and maybe July or something like that. So because when we look at like the last February Direct, we had I guess the game that had the that was shown off in the Direct first party wise that would release the latest would have been Pikmin 4, and that was July. So I do think that we will see at least games that go up until July, at least July. If they want to do more just to show a little more confidence in Nintendo Switch. Again, I've also been thinking about that, like what will they show exactly and how far in advance they will go. I've been seeing, a lot of discussion that maybe they just go until June. I've been seeing other discussions where they have talked about, Metroid Prime 4 gets a holiday 2024 date, and that pretty much solidifies it as a, that's Nintendo's pretty much talking about the entire year at that point. I do think that we will see most of Nintendo's lineup until July in the next Nintendo Direct, but I also do think that we will see this year's holiday game. We either will see it in the Nintendo Direct or we'll see it in the Pokemon Presents. I do think that there's a chance that the Pokemon game does. Maybe it wasn't initially gonna not release this year, but I do think there's been reports now that the Pokemon Company has taken the feedback from Scarlet and Violet series, and so maybe they do push it, a couple of months. Legends Arceus did release in January. Maybe they do another thing like that where they release the next game in January of next year. So, and that wouldn't really be the holiday game. So, if that is the case, I do think Nintendo will probably reveal their holiday game in the Direct coming up, possibly. But yeah, I do think by the end of this month we will know Nintendo's holiday game. Obviously, last year we did not know that until June, but I do think that going off like the pretense again that the Nintendo Switch will be getting a successor this year, I do think they probably just want, early on just for people to feel that confidence of, oh, okay, if I still buy a Nintendo Switch right now, I will have games going up until, November, December or something like that. Where last year, they didn't really need to do that because we had Zelda at that point. We had already dated Pikmin 4 for July, and then obviously the June Direct, we also got Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Super Mario RPG, a remake, and WarioWare, and Detective Pikachu Returns, and everything like that. So, again, if there's no new console this year, I could see them easily just dating games until July, and then in June, they have another Direct where they do the same thing and they date games for the rest of the year, and then in September they do another Direct that pretty much finishes out the Nintendo Switch's main stay as Nintendo's main console. But yeah, obviously I've already talked about Side Order and Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Princess Peach, and all those products already have dates. But I do think that Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon will be Nintendo's May game. That is a little early. I know that's a little earlier than summer, but Nintendo did also say that spring would be the release timing for Side Order. And I do think in some areas where, I obviously depends on where you live. I do think spring is around the time Side Order is releasing, but that is very early into spring, if that's the case. And I guess I could see them maybe doing mid to late June, if they want to get it out earliest summer. But I do think there's a chance that the game doesn't even it releases earlier than summer, in the middle of spring. Spring, in that sense. And I do think that Paper Mario Thousand Year Door will be releasing in July at that point. Obviously, I think there'll be a 2-month separation between the two. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think, or around 6 weeks, where Luigi's Mansion probably releases first, and then about 6 to 8 weeks later, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door releases. And I think that's it. I think that's what we see there, for just known stuff. And then in this June Direct, I would expect to see maybe not as much announcements as we got in the June and September Direct, but I do think we see maybe 2 or 3 newish because there's probably gonna be at least 1 or 2 remakes, remasters shown from the first party Nintendo. But I do think we see at least 2 or 3 announcements from Nintendo. At the very least, I do think we probably get a shadow drop here of something, either if that's a GameCube game or another eShop game or something like that from Nintendo. And then I do think that we see a remaster. Oh, well, I guess I should take a little step back there. I do think, obviously, if it is a GameCube game, obviously, that would be a remake or remaster of some sort. So I think that could also just then be the remake remaster that we see. And if I had to make a guess, I do think it'll be Metroid Prime 2. Just because I do think in this Direct we will see Metroid Prime 4. I know that's a pretty out there prediction still, but I do think we've distanced ourselves far enough from the or I mean, it's been at this point, it's been beyond 5 years since they rebooted the game. I do think we will at least see something early on this year. And I know again, there's been a lot of speculation that maybe they'd wait to show off the Nintendo. Well, they would wait off show Metroid Prime 4 until the next console. I do think they could just show it off in this direct, and then maybe not even show the Nintendo Switch logo at all in the trailer. Or maybe I was thinking about this very much like early on this year, but maybe they just don't even like. Obviously, they say it's coming out on the Nintendo Switch, but maybe that's where we get a reveal of the next console. Not in the direct itself, but well, I guess it would be in the direct, but. At the end of the trailer, they show just basically like a logo of a code name, and that is it. That's all we get. And then maybe Nintendo on Twitter or whatever social media platform that they I guess maybe even on YouTube or something. Maybe they come back after the direct. After like the trailer, like, oh, did you see that? Did you see that little code name of some sort? Look forward to more information on that in the near future or something like that. But yeah, I do think we're going to see Metroid Prime 4. And I do think we're going to get Metroid Prime 2 and maybe Metroid Prime 3 in this trailer, with 2 and 3 being shadow drops. And yeah, and then that will be my only concern with the shadow drop thing. And this wasn't a concern until a week ago when they dated Side Order. But it would be a lot of content from Nintendo. Just in February alone. We get a shadow drop next week, or the week of the 5th. Yeah, the week of the February 5th. And then we get Mario and Donkey Kong on the 16th. And then we get Side Order on the 22nd. That's a lot of content just from Nintendo, when they could space it out a little bit more. So that's making me think that if we do get a shadow drop, it's going to be a smaller one. Maybe like eShop or something. But 2 weeks ago, me would have said, "Oh, we're totally gonna get a shadow drop." They shadow dropped Metroid Prime Remastered just a week or two before Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. But I do think we already have 2 releases in February, so I don't know if they would do that necessarily just yet. I don't know if they would do that in general, especially since these remasters are pretty beefy games, pretty big games. That they could, do announce and then release like in April or March or something like that. And then, pretty much to, wrap up just like the direct section for February, I do think that we do see a new game, and the rumor out there is Donkey Kong. I concur. I do think we will see Donkey Kong. It depends, really, I guess, on what you think is really left with the console. If you don't think another Nintendo console is coming out this year, I could totally see you even more agreeing that of course there'll be a new Donkey Kong game or something new. But obviously, if you don't think that, Nintendo doing remaster remake is probably the more the path that you would feel more inclined to agree with, just because obviously Nintendo would be saving a lot of the games for the next console, and I still believe that's happening. And I do believe, obviously, as I mentioned, that Nintendo's next console will release this year, but I do think Nintendo wants to at least have 1 or 2 more new games outside of Princess Peach Showtime, since that's releasing so early in this year, just for the Nintendo Switch, especially if they want something for the holidays that's exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. But then that pretty much wraps up my Nintendo Direct February predictions. And then at that point, we could just go into talk about games, just because I do think that we will have something in June. I think it will either be that presentation I was talking about for the console, or just another Nintendo Direct of some sort. Maybe we'll get both. Maybe we'll get a mini Nintendo Direct and a Nintendo Switch 2 presentation somewhere, in the June-July section, just to detail more about games. But I do think that if we do get that presentation, I wouldn't be surprised if we just get a full-on Nintendo Direct like soon after to talk about the games that we see in that presentation. But something along that lines. I do think we're gonna see something in February, something in June. Obviously February we also have the Pokemon Presents. I barely mentioned, but I do think we're probably gonna see a new Pokemon mainline game there, and there'll be a new Pokemon spin-off. Obviously I would love to see another Pokemon Conquest or Pokemon like a Poke Park or something new that they haven't done before on the Nintendo Switch. I don't think Pokemon Ranger is possible, but Pokemon Ranger would be cool as well. And then we get that, and then June. At this point, if we're going off my predictions, we would see, we've got another code. We've got Mario plus Mario versus Donkey Kong, maybe a Shadow Drop somewhere, or maybe just a release of a GameCube remaster remake. Within that, February March section, Side Order, Princess Peach Showtime, and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. That's a lot of games already. If we do get a Direct in the summer region, I do think we're going to get Shadow Drop there too. That could be where we see the Zelda games. And then I do think that... But yeah, I think that we likely will see a Shadow Drop in June or July, or whenever, the next smaller Nintendo Direct presentation. I mean, smaller presentation compared to a console presentation would be. I was talking about a mini earlier, just as so we get a mini at some point. I think that's more likely in the June-July timeframe than the February timeframe, just because I do think, again, we will see Metroid Prime 4 in that Direct, and I do think that if Nintendo is going to show off Metroid Prime 4, they do want to do it in a much larger event. Another thing I was thinking about is maybe just doing a Metroid focused Nintendo Direct, as a Nintendo Direct this Metroid series focused. And they reveal Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered, and Metroid Prime 4's first trailer, and then maybe a 2D remake or Metroid 6 or something like that. I was thinking about that, but I do think Nintendo probably also still just wants to talk about their other projects. After the Side Order trailer, there's been a lot of talk about how that trailer didn't really show much gameplay or really anything outside of the release date. Anybody that people familiar with Side Order before, I think they knew all the information besides the release date that they showed off in that trailer. So they probably do also just want to talk about their games, more products and all that. And I do think, again, if it has Metroid Prime 4 in it, I don't think they're going to do it as a mini. I think it's going to be a larger general Nintendo Direct. But after the first trailer for Metroid Prime 4 is fully shown off, I do think they could do it in a mini, they could do another trailer within a mini. But I do think they want that first reveal to be in a more watched, more viewed, live event of some sort. But again, who knows? Who knows if we even get a Direct in February? Who knows, right? Okay. Obviously I mentioned earlier, Pokemon Presents and February Direct, or what I'm really just expecting this month, February to consist of. And then obviously the releases, but I think that's going to be it. March, I think, obviously could be a little bigger with Princess Peach Showtime and a possible console reveal. But I do think Princess Peach Showtime could hold that month just by itself without anything else extra around it. And then between March and May, we hear about the next console. And then, obviously, I talked about June, July presentation. At this point, I guess I could talk a little bit about the presentation, what I would hope to see from it. I do think it will be a little bigger than the Nintendo Switch one, just because the Nintendo Switch one, when it was shown off, obviously we knew about a lot of the stuff that they would be showing off in there, just from first party wise, just because of stuff that we were privy to from the October reveal. So we knew that Breath of the Wild obviously was coming to the Nintendo Switch, a new 3D Mario, Splatoon 2, and those type of games. I think the big reveal, first party wise, that was not in that trailer was probably Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and then obviously ARMS and 1-2 Switch. But I don't know if they're gonna do the same thing here. I think I don't think they're gonna show off, you know, and then obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But I don't think they're gonna show off multiple new games in this within like the trailer that we would get like between March and May. I do think obviously I think they're gonna tease something. I think they could obviously show off Metroid Prime 4 in that trailer, and then maybe a new 3D Mario. But I don't think they're gonna show off like a new Mario Kart in that trailer, or a new Splatoon, or a new Animal Crossing, or something like that. But I do think there's a chance that some of those games could be revealed at the presentation. I do think we could see, obviously 3D Mario, Metroid Prime 4 in this presentation. But I think we could see, depending on what the Splatoon Animal Crossing team had been working on, a new Animal Crossing revealed. Or because at this point it would have been about 3 years. About 3 years since New Horizons finished getting content. It'll be about 2.5 years. And that could be a good enough amount of time to at least have a concept ready to show off. And yeah, so I do think we could see those. I think we could see a new Mario Kart. If I had to make like a strict prediction, I think we'll see 3D Mario, Metroid Prime 4, something related to Animal Crossing, and Mario Kart in this presentation. I think we'll get mentions of other projects. Actually, I take that back. I take off the Mario Kart. I think we're going to see a new Monolith Soft game at that presentation. Yeah. I think Mario Kart could be saved for a September Nintendo Direct or something like that to like end the Direct, or the Buddha. I don't remember the right word, but to pretty much end that Direct, the September Direct. They could save Mario Kart for that, and it gives like a idea of, there's still one more thing that's huge that they didn't talk about until just now, and that being Mario Kart. So, but obviously, in that September Direct, we saw in the January 2017 presentation, we saw Breath of the Wild. We saw Splatoon 2. So the things that got like major stage time was I believe it was 1-2 Switch, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, and then we also got reveals. That's 4. We got reveals of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Fire Emblem Warriors. So that's 6, and then Breath of the Wild. So that's 7. We have 7 games, first party wise, that was shown off at that presentation. There might have been like 1 or 2 more. I know in the trailer they showed off, right before they went to the Breath of the Wild segment, Mario Kart 8 was also there, so that could be like 8 games. And yeah, so I don't know if we'll get 8, but I do think we'll get some bigger games. I think we'll get Metroid Prime 4, Super Mario, or 3D Mario, Monolith Soft game, Animal Crossing, and then I guess with that logic, whatever the pack, not the pack-in, but the game that's like like that, like focuses on like whatever gimmick they do with the next console, or just like a party game. That could be number 5. Again, as I mentioned, Mario Kart again, I guess could be shown off there. And yeah, so obviously we won't know until then, because obviously there's a lot of games. 2 of those games weren't even franchised before the Nintendo Switch presentation, and ARMS and 1-2 Switch, so, and Fire Emblem Warriors, I guess. So who knows? But I think that's going to be that. I think we're going to see, and then Mario Kart, and not Mario Kart, Super Mario, 3D Mario, Metroid Prime 4, the party game, and then one other game they show off there will be released this year between the months of September and December. We'll get probably 1 in September, 1 in October, 1 in November, 1 in December, I think, or maybe 2 in October or something like that, like they did with Super Mario Odyssey and Fire Emblem Warriors. But I guess it also depends on when the console's actually releasing. But then I think obviously following that, the Direct Mini, I think we'll probably get one reveal there. We'll probably get a shadow drop of something. It'll probably be the Zelda games. I could see them honestly doing those in the Direct Mini more than doing Metroid Prime 4 in Direct Mini, just because those games are already known. They wouldn't really have as much. They don't need as much lead up time that a Metroid Prime 4 would need, and I think they, even though they're very exciting to have, I don't think they seeing Metroid Prime 4. I think right now would be a little more exciting than those the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports, but obviously that could change. I mean, who knows? We could see Twilight Princess and Wind Waker instead of Metroid Prime 2 and 3 in the possible February Nintendo Direct. So who knows? And then obviously at that point we would see Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door release, and then around August and September we would see marketing really ramp up for the next Nintendo console, with whatever games that they would reveal with it. And then September, I think we will get another Nintendo Direct type of presentation. Again, it could be another mini. I think in this showcase, I think the mini in the summer would be focused mainly on Nintendo Switch games, and then maybe we'd obviously maybe see another trailer for Metroid Prime 4 there. But I do think with a larger Nintendo Direct in September, even a mini, we would see at least some Nintendo Switch 2 games. We'll probably get another trailer for the 3D Mario, another trailer for Metroid Prime 4, and anything else, whatever games they show off for that presentation, and then maybe 1 or 2 new game reveals, maybe one smaller game reveal for the next Nintendo console, and then one smaller game reveal for the current console. And then I haven't mentioned Donkey Kong in the February Direct, but obviously at some point we'll also be seeing Donkey Kong trailers and all that, so that could be another game that they show off in those presentations. And then that's it. The next console will release in September, October, November. We get those games. We get Metroid Prime 4. We get Donkey Kong, the next Donkey Kong game, and that would be pretty much it. So the last thing I'm gonna finish this video off with is just really hopes, I guess, because I gave pretty much my time frame of what I think what the next year would look like on a general perspective. I will definitely have more videos in the future as we have directs, and probably around the summer region if we've got a new console revealed, or if we've not got a new console revealed, updating what I think the second half of the year will look like. At that point we will probably have a very good image of what the second year will look like, but maybe at that point then I'll go a little bit further into next year. But yeah, I guess I will finish off with some hopes. So I do hope that at some point this year we see something Kid Icarus wise. You will hear that also in my predictions video for whatever Nintendo Direct we have this year and presentation for the next console. I do hope that, but I don't actually think that Kid Icarus is probably gonna happen this year. I think maybe we hear something from Kid Icarus, but unless it's a port of Uprising, and that's very likely gonna be the next Kid Icarus project, port of Uprising. I guess they could do that on the Switch. I mean, I didn't even really mention it. I don't really see a space for it. Well, actually, okay, so let me go through the schedule that I have listed for the Nintendo Switch, or for Nintendo this year, via those items. I think that we will see, obviously we had another code, we will have Mario vs. Donkey Kong, we will have Side Order. I think in early March we will see the game I was talking about, either Metroid Prime 2 and 3 package, or Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, or something like that. Early March, we will have Princess Peach in Princess Peach Showtime. In the March 22nd, we will have, I guess, we could do Kid Icarus in April. That'd be pretty cool. But then we would have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Then we would have, I didn't really do a schedule, I guess. In June, I think we would have a shadow drop of the other game, if that is the other package. So if that's Metroid Prime 2 or 3 or Twilight Princess. And I guess I could see us doing another game. Maybe that's the month that we get. Well, I guess I could also just put Paper Mario there as well. So Paper Mario Thousand Year Door at some point between June and July. In July, I think that we get interesting. In July, I think that we get. I'll just go out there. I think we're gonna get a Mario sports game. Actually, there you go. May Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Mario Baseball in June, and then Paper Mario in July. In August, I don't think we get anything. I think that if the console's releasing in September, they're gonna want a separation period, and they didn't really do anything in August, or I don't think they did anything in August this year, or really even September. They did the Shadow Drop of F-Zero, but that's it. So I think we're gonna have a filler period, and at that point we have already gotten some games extras within the month. We will already have probably around 8 to publish games projects this year at that point. So in August, I don't think we get anything. September, I think that's when the console's gonna release. So we would have 3D Mario at that point, maybe a Metroid Prime 4, a party game from Nintendo. If Metroid Prime 4 doesn't release in September, I think it'll release in October or November. And then, at some point we'll also see Donkey Kong, I think in December. Or not December, in like October, and then maybe Metroid in November. And then Pokemon, of course. Something Pokemon related, but that could also just be in January as well. We will see. And then obviously Pokemon spin-off. So there is a lot of games. There is a lot of games that could happen. And I mean, a lot of those things that I've already stated as like actual things I think could happen would also be predictions. So, besides Kid Icarus, I guess. That's pretty much it. Could we see a new Tomodachi Life? I don't know. Could we see a new ARMS? I don't know. Those would be pretty cool. I think we could see a new Kirby game this year too. So there's a lot. And that's not even touching the surface of other things Nintendo could do outside of just their games. Obviously, we just got a look at the theme parks. With the Epic Universe video that they uploaded maybe 2 days ago, I think, at this point. And then obviously we could get movie news. Maybe they announce a television series or something like that. I don't think they would announce that this year, because I think they probably are working on the next Mario movie. They've already announced the Zelda movie. Maybe they could do a small mini animated series, maybe that they upload somewhere on YouTube, or maybe they partner with one of these streaming services and release it there. And yeah, but I think this year is gonna be very exciting overall for Nintendo. Obviously, compared to last year, it might be a little bit of a more subdued year until the end of the year, when we have a new console and maybe a new Mario, 3 Mario, Metroid Prime 4, maybe Donkey Kong, maybe a new Pokemon, something like that. But I do think the beginning of this year, leading up to September, it still looks really good. Just from these predictions, we already know. At least we already have 4 more games that we'll be releasing this year. We already have Side Order, Metroid Prime 4 maybe it does release, as I mentioned already. And we for sure have at least 2 or 3 other either ports or new games or something of that sort releasing. So we have a lot. There's still a lot of Nintendo content out there just waiting to be played or waiting to be announced and all that. But that is pretty much all I have for my predictions, really, or my thoughts, or really anything for this year. Expectations, I guess. I don't really think the plans really change based on, like, I initially thought when I was making this video that the plans would change if Nintendo doesn't have a console this year. I don't think they would really, because what I've really stated here was that whatever Switch 2 games that would be announced this year, they would be coming out in September, October, November. And I've already mentioned, I think Donkey Kong could get a new game this year, so that's already one game that they don't, like, that's already one area that they don't really need to announce or release anything with. If Pokemon comes out this year, we could see Donkey Kong in October, Pokemon in November. That's really only at that point, I think September is blank. And they could do another Shadow Drop of something in September. So, really, I think this year's going to be pretty full. We might not have the heavy hitter that was Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder from last year. But I do think, we have Donkey Kong in that case. We would have a new Super Mario sports game. We would have Princess Peach Showtime. I mean, I think those are some pretty good games. Obviously, maybe not as big as the Zeldas or the 2D Marios, but I think they would still do good critically and financially, and I guess sales wise for the audience as well. But yeah, that is all I have for you all today. This was pretty much just a podcast format, I guess. I don't think there was any visuals going on in the background. It's just the thumbnail, I guess. But again, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave your thoughts about what you think that Nintendo's 2024 would look like this year. And yeah, in the comments down below. And feel free to like, and then as I mentioned earlier, go through the channel and see if there's any other videos that you would like to watch. And if you do find some content that you enjoy watching on this channel, that is pretty much the content that I usually do. So if you would like, feel free to just subscribe as well. But until next time, make sure to make you happy. So I'm Generic Cappy, and I'll see you next one. Goodbye.